This week, I decided to explore classroom number 1. In this classroom, I learned that games and simulations can be impactful to student learning. I learned that games and simulations engage students and motivate students to learn. This week, I read different articles experts wrote and listened to a podcast from an expert that changed the way students engage with writing. In his first article, Video Games, Learning, and Content by James Paul G., I learned that people learn from their experiences. Students take what they previously experienced and apply them to video games as they play. I also learned that there are two different types of games that we need to consider, a game with a lowercase g and a game with a capitalized G. The podcast that I listened to was a revolutionary learning podcast by Dr. David Silo. From Dr. Silo, I learned that he wanted to teach writing to kids more effectively and engaging. So he created a game where students can play as they practice their writing. His students showed so much success with their writing, and his game reached many audiences. Silo's goal is to provide new ways of learning. Just like with all teachers, we can't become stagnant. We need to be continuously shaping our teaching so students are always engaged and always motivated to learn. We need to seek new solutions for learning, just like Dr. Silo did with his writing center and creating a game where students can practice their writing. We need to continuously shape our way we deliver content to students. In the presentation by Dr. Carrie Miller, I learned that serious games are the types of games that are used for educational uses. The serious games allow for people to gain life experience from games. Because some things can be too costly or too risky, serious games can be used in place of real-life situations. These games can be used for practicing new skills that were just previously learned in a classroom. For example, a surgeon can practice a complex surgery on a game before practicing on a real human. These serious games allow for students to practice in a safe environment before doing it in a real-world situation. Another example is students who are learning in driver's ed. They can get in a virtual simulation and learn behind the wheel in a variety of different conditions before getting behind an actual wheel in a car. The Teaching with Simulations website explained that students can use simulations to help better understand a behavior or skill. Simulations allow for students to gain personal experiences they may never receive without the simulation. The simulations are engaging and allow for students to engage in deeper learning. The last article I read was about immersive simulations. This article talked about how classrooms are being shaped to match the 21st century skills students need to succeed in the future. Students are collaborating, communicating, and critically thinking with their peers and the classroom environment. In this classroom, I learned that games and simulations can transform teaching and learning. It allows for students to take control of their learning. It allows for students who are disengaged to become quickly engaged with their learning. Games and simulations motivate students to succeed and to learn. Simulations allow for students to gain experiences and to build knowledge in areas they would never experience before. It allows for students to problem solve and to use higher order thinking skills. Simulations let students practice real-life skills before performing them. Simulations allow for students to gain skills and then students can transfer their learning during real-life situations. Games and simulations allow for teachers to create hands-on experiences for students that might not receive. Games and simulations allow for teachers to create engaging lessons that keep students interested. This classroom will allow for students to obtain real-life experiences. At the school I teach at a low-income school where students may not obtain some life experiences. Simulations can change that. Simulations can drive these students and give them opportunities they may never experience. That is why I want to incorporate more games and simulations into my teaching. Also, games and simulations motivate students to learn. This engagement allows for students to succeed and to want to learn. I've also attached a couple different videos of why we should use simulations in our classroom and in our teaching, and an example use of one teacher who is using simulation use in his classroom to teach students about farming in the Gilded Age. Thank you.